All right. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are, Lions fans. Week 2 here of the Michigan Sports Betting Show presented by Heavy.com. I'm Ben Duty, managing editor at Heavy.com. With me is Max Damara, Heavy on Lions. It was a Victory Monday. Now I guess we're taping this on a Wednesday. It's a Victory Wednesday for the Lions. Coming off of one of the bigger upsets of the season in the NFL. We told you on the Michigan Sports Betting Show last week, risk-free bet with our guys at FanDuel Sportsbook. The Lions were at plus 530. Max and I both, we got to admit it, we did pick the Cardinals, so bad job on our part, mea culpa. We did say, hey, if you want to, that money line on the Lions is a huge underdog. Wouldn't be the craziest thing that happens. I think we told you on the show, Max, hey, the Lions might have a lead for some time, but then the Cardinals are going to come back. The Cardinals are going to pull away at the end. And that's not what happened. So Victory Wednesday in Michigan. How are you feeling today, Max?
Well, it's been a crazy 48 hours. I mean, really, ever since that game, it's just the excitement of the fan base. I think people really excited because, like we said last week, and like I said, it's always hard to see the Lions coming away with those wins when they've been so close this year. But they really kicked the door down, I think, with this game this week. And this is the kind of game that gives them confidence, not just for the rest of the season, the last few weeks of the year, but certainly 2022 as well. It gets them kind of in the right mindset to put away some of these games where they have a lead, they build on a lead. So there was a lot of positives out of that game for the Lions, certainly defensively and, of course, offensively with the play of Jared Goff, 3 more touchdowns. He's kind of coming around here late in the season for the Lions, which has really been great news considering how he struggled early in the season. So a lot of positives from that game, really. And the Lions continue to be a very intriguing team here down the stretch, in all phases, really, betting and just as a fan as well.
So we're going to get into Lions-Falcons. Lions are at the Falcons, 1 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. We're going to talk about that game from a betting standpoint. Let me ask you a couple of, and then we're going to get into some promos for FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm asking you a couple questions about where you see the Lions going this season into next season. Let me first talk, though, FanDuel Sportsbook promo. We're going to have an extra twist here for viewers here, Michigan Sports Betting Show, and followers of Max on Twitter. We're going to do a merch giveaway, and here's how the giveaway is going to work. Max is going to tweet out a link to an offer on FanDuel Sportsbook. This is their evergreen offer. It's a risk-free bet for new users of up to $1,000. So you place $1,000 bet. You can go smaller than that if you want to, but if you have $1,000, your wife lets you deposit the $1,000, you can bet that risk-free. So you lose the bet, money goes right back in your account. FanDuel Sportsbook. Click the link that Max is going to tweet out along with this video. FanDuel Sportsbook is live in Michigan and 11 other states. So if you're in Michigan, you're eligible to do this. You sign up, create an account. There's a $10 minimum to deposit, so not a massive commitment. You bet the game. You can bet anything you want. It doesn't have to be Lions, but we'll talk about Lions. Bet the game. Now you're going to have to bet the Lions game. You don't even have to bet for the Lions. You can bet against them if you want to. And you would have lost a lot of money betting against them last week, but this is what you're going to do. Go to FanDuel Sportsbook. You're going to bet the Lions game. You're going to reply to Max, send him your bet slip. It's got to be the Lions game. And we're going to take the people who submit a bet slip. We're going to pick one winner, and we're going to send them some Heavy on Lions merchandise from the Heavy store. So you want some Lions merch? I was telling Max, Heavy store has been live since this spring. Holly Campbell, shout out Holly Campbell if you're watching this. Dan Campbell's wife bought a bunch of Campbell soup merchandise, kneecap soup merchandise, and was one of the very first customers in the Heavy store. So love you, Holly Campbell. Please come back, buy more merchandise. Please watch the Michigan Sports Betting Show. And Holly, you personally, if you're not already signed up FanDuel Sportsbook, go to FanDuel Sportsbook, live in Michigan. You can enter this contest, Lions merchandise giveaway, and you're going to hop into Max's mentions for that. So we're going to get to the Lions, get to the specifics of this Lions game. I want to ask you about Dan Campbell here for a second. He's gotten a lot of, I think, very well-deserved love on social media for how good his post-game speeches are, both his post-game press conference and his locker room speeches. And he had just an awesome speech as you would expect in the locker room after this victory. I want to ask you about Dan Campbell. He's a first-year coach. Obviously, he's won 2 games here. So this is a poor win-loss record. The Lions are not going to make the playoffs. given the way the Bears are playing, and there's a chance now the Lions will not finish last place in the division, which might be an interesting thing to look at. So obviously, it's not like he's not going to go to the Super Bowl. You do see in the NFL some of these coaches be one and done or two and done, where there's a short leash on these coaches if they have a bad year. I assume that if there was any doubt about Dan Campbell coming back for a second year, that doubt is gone, just given the way the team has played and certainly the win. I assume he's back next year. But give me a standpoint as someone who follows this stuff way, way more closely than I am. What do you think Lions ownership and management and the fan base think about Dan Campbell and basically confirm for me if you can, will he be back next year? I think he probably will be. But what does his future look like here as the head coach of the Lions?
Well, I think it's a slam dunk he comes back next year. I mean, for all the reasons you said, the team has improved as they've gotten on further down the year. Now, that's a conversation you could have had if the Lions had gone winless, right? And they didn't really improve and the team, was kind of bumbling around like they have been. But I think Dan Campbell has a lot of confidence of ownership. And you mentioned those videos that he, the team tweets out after the game. There was a great one a few weeks ago where, after the first win against Minnesota, where you saw Sheila Ford, who's the owner of the team now, come running into the locker room, and Dan Campbell grabs her and swings her around in the air in his arms. So I think that kind of tells you what ownership feels about Dan Campbell. And I think it's in terms of Lions coaches, right? They've had short leashes before. We've seen that. We've seen, struggles and guys, quickly move on. Certainly Matt Patricia, only got a few years in Detroit, but I think Dan Campbell is different. I think that everybody in ownership really knows, everybody around the team, even the fan base really kind of understands this was a rebuild year, right? They traded Matthew Stafford. They have a lot of holes on defense, the offense as well, a lot of different, pieces. Solid offensive line, but maybe devoid of some weaponry. So I think what Campbell has accomplished this year with this team is laying the groundwork, right? We talk about all the time on my Facebook Live show. It's like building a house. And that's always the analogy I have. You got to have a solid foundation to start off, right? If it's a weak foundation, you're going to be in trouble. And I think Dan Campbell kind of represents that foundation for the Lions. He's a rock. He's strong. He's solid. So he's going nowhere this year, and I think the trajectory is only moving forward in a solid way for the Lions because of how solid they've been to finish the season. And certainly that win against Arizona validated it for me.
Really interesting. I mean, look, it would. I'm not saying I'm not going to make a hot take prediction that the Lions are going to be like a playoff team next year, but let's even say they win one more game, so 3 wins and 1 tie. It's not unheard of for a team to go from that level to double-digit win total in a year. Certainly not in 2 years. So we'll see what happens. What do you think the Lions – now, look, some of this will depend on how the draft plays out, and the Lions will have a high draft pick almost no matter what. Who do you think what's the Lions' plan at quarterback long-term? Who's the Lions' quarterback? I assume it's Goff next year, but we'll see. But how do you see things playing out under center for the Lions the next couple of years?
I think it's Goff for 2022. Certainly, I mean, the contract is it's tough, right? He's still owed a lot of money. The Lions are, not quite at a point where they could pull the plug just yet without any risk. So I say 2022 is still Goff. And again, he's come on strong down the second half of the season, right? Last few games, 9 touchdowns to 2 picks. And I read a stat today, ironically enough, just before I came on here, that there's only been 3 other quarterbacks that have had a better QBR than Goff these last 4 weeks of the year. And it's the who's who, right? It's Stafford, it's obviously Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. So the stats are kind of aligning. I think Goff, the ideal plan for the Lions is you keep Goff in 2022. Maybe you think about drafting one of those guys you have multiple, 2 first-round picks here. Just because you don't have one at 1 doesn't mean you can't take one with that Rams pick, which is going to come later in the first round. And then you've got also probably an early second-round pick. So that fits in with one of these guys who you maybe take a flyer on. I think you got to do that if you're the Lions. You got to keep Goff, but you got to you got to have somebody developing behind him that you can kind of get a feel for moving forward here. So Goff now, and then hand the keys over down the line for the future for the Lions. But it wouldn't be unheard of if Goff just stuck around, because he's actually been playing pretty well when you look past the rough start to the season that he's had for the Lions.
Ben Duty and Max Damara, the Heavy.com Michigan Sports Betting Show. We're going to get to the Lions-Falcons. I just placed the bet on the game. And again, if you want our Lions merch giveaway, free merch, you've got to place your FanDuel Sportsbook bet and send Max your bet slip. We're gonna pick a winner. Free Lions merch. What do you want to know what my bet was here?
Yeah, give me it.
I bet a decent amount of money here by my standards. I don't bet thousands of dollars a game. Placed a $50 bet. The Lions better not screw me over here. $50 bet. I took the Lions money line at plus 210. I want the Lions. I get the Lions to win. It's a plus money line by far. Win outright at Atlanta. I flirted with the Lions money line last week, but I didn't bet it. No, I loosely recommended it. So I'm an existing FanDuel sportsbook user, so I don't get the risk-free. So I got to lose my $50 if they lose this. But I like that plus money line. Here's the spread. FanDuel Sportsbook, Lions-Falcons. Point spread is the Lions plus 6. So Lions getting 6. The money line is plus 210 for Detroit, minus 255 for Atlanta. So you bet my bet FanDuel Sportsbook here. I wager $50 to win 105 at that money line plus 210. Total payout 155 if I win the bet. So that's where it is. I know, like let me say this about the Falcons, and the Falcons are one of the main teams that we've covered here at Heavy for a long time. Shout out to our friends Kelsey Kramer and James Dudko covering the Falcons. The Falcons are not a horrible team at all. I mean, they're not terribly far away from being a playoff team. I'm a Patriots fan. They did not look good against my team. The Patriots beat them 25-0 on the road in the Thursday night game. So I know it's not an awful team. It wouldn't, and not only not an awful team. It makes sense to me that this Atlanta team is favored. I'm not saying if I had even money, I guess I would pick Atlanta at even money, but I think it's very close. I also think, and you can let me know if I'm wrong on this, Max, because the Lions have hung in there in all these games and really have not really gotten their doors blown out. I actually think it's possible that they get kind of hot here. Not hot to the point where they win out necessarily,
right?
But like the Lions winning 2 games in a row here is really not a far-fetched thing. So I like that play plus money line. So that's my pick. And again, you can bet that if you like the money line, your New Year's in Michigan FanDuel Sportsbook, bet that thing risk-free, and you just bet more than $50 because it's risk-free. So you hit that money line. Plus 210. What do you like, Max? Plus 6 or plus 210?
I like that a lot. I like the money line a lot in this game. I think the Lions are, like you said, they're a team that's hung around. They've been 9-5 against the spread this year, so they're a team that's been very interesting in terms of betting, as I mentioned earlier. And the Lions beat Atlanta last year. Now it took a last-second touchdown, so they've got that positive momentum already against this team. So, and then plus you've got the positive momentum already from this big win. And like you said, it's not far-fetched to see the Lions get hot this year at the end of the year. They've really kind of come into their own here. And they're playing with house money. It's a team that, like we said, Dan Campbell's just got them playing hard. They're not going to give up. And, you're going to hear a lot of teams, people say, oh, they're not favored, or, oh, they've got these problems. It hasn't really mattered. I mean, we talked about last week, all the guys that were sick with COVID and, different guys coming in. It hasn't mattered. They've put guys in different positions, and all of them have really delivered, oddly enough. So I really like the Lions in this game, to be completely honest. I'm right there with you. I do like that money line for the Lions. And, I think that it, like you said, wouldn't be far-fetched for them to get hot here, rattle off 2 wins in a row, and maybe surprise some people who haven't been necessarily paying attention to them this year, given their record.
We're going to do about 2 minutes here in college football. I got to ask you a question that I don't think I've ever asked you off air, which is, you're a huge Michigan State fan, massive Michigan State fan. Do you hate Michigan? And are you rooting for Michigan to get their doors blown off by Georgia? Or are you one of these guys who's kind of like, you're a fan, you mostly support local teams, you've got Big Ten pride on the line, you don't want to see the Big Ten get embarrassed on the national stage, and so you like Michigan in this game? What's your general take on University of Michigan sports, including football, and how does that translate into what you're hoping to see, college football playoff, the Wolverines against the Bulldogs?
Well, naturally, when you go to Michigan State, right, it's kind of indoctrinated, right? You have to hate Michigan. It's kind of the thing, right? It's the thing to do. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of love for Michigan, obviously, but I will say this. I mean, like you said, Big Ten pride. I always like to see the Big Ten do well in bowl season. And this year, you consider it from a Michigan State perspective. They have the only win against Michigan. Michigan undefeated the rest of the way, other than that MSU game, which is a narrow loss. So, it might sound crazy. This is kind of my take, and I've told friends this. I'm rooting for Michigan to win out. Just go ahead, win out, win the whole thing, because Michigan State still has that win against them. They'll always have that win against them. And it will bother a lot of hardcore Michigan fans right to their death that Michigan State beat them in probably their most successful season in decades. So, you know what? Go ahead, Michigan, win out. And personally, obviously, I'm not going to be disappointed, right, if Georgia blows their doors off. I'm not going to be crying over it. But I think Michigan is a pretty good team this year. And you got to give them credit where credit is due and say they are a solid team. They've done a lot of things that nobody expected, beating Ohio State, winning some of these games on the road. They were projected maybe to lose, like Penn State. So, give them credit. You got to give them credit, even though they're your big rival. And that's kind of how I feel about Michigan heading into the semifinal game.
Here, I'll tell you a few things. And I don't. I'll go Michigan, Ohio State as opposed to Michigan, Michigan State. And no offense, Michigan State fan. I think most of us in the rest of the country don't really get up for the Michigan, Michigan State game.
Yeah.
But they do get up for Michigan, Ohio State. I feel like that's one of these rivalries where, like, I think some people out in the rest of the country feel this way about, like, Yankees, Red Sox, for example,
right,
where you kind of pick one side. And I've been on the Michigan side of that. For reasons that I can't even, like, completely articulate. And I hate Urban Meyer. He's just an awful person. Good riddance at the Jags. So of course you want that guy to lose. But I've been pro Michigan in that rivalry, predating that. The amount of fun that I had watching Michigan just abuse Ohio State in that game, just punch them in the mouth from the first drive of that game, where the Michigan O-line just plowed through those guys.
Yeah,
he just relentlessly pounded away and really emasculated Ohio State in that game. I thought that was probably the most, one of the, and I'm a Patriots fan. My team's having a good year despite what happened on Saturday, which was a disaster. But I think it's the most fun I've had, which is watching Michigan, Ohio State. So Michigan, I think, and look, I assume there are a lot of Michigan fans here, Lions audience here, Michigan sports betting. So probably some Michigan and Michigan State fans, but definitely some Michigan fans. So here's the line here. Michigan's a pretty big underdog in this game against Georgia. This game is, by the way, on New Year's Eve evening. So 7:00, I like these New Year's Eve games. I don't party that hard. If you party a little bit harder, maybe it's hard for you to get in front of a TV. I keep New Year's Eve pretty mild. So I'll have the game on for sure. I don't know, Max. I mean, it worries me from maybe I have a little bit of like northern attachment here to the Big Ten over the SEC. I'm in New England. We don't have a Big Ten team here, but I like the kind of cold weather team against the Sun Belt team. And I worry about these games because it's just happened enough times that the SEC team just sort of blows the doors off a really good Big Ten team. So I worry a little bit about this game, but Michigan is getting more than a touchdown here in FanDuel Sportsbook. It's plus 7.5. If you like the money line, it's plus 235 on that thing. I'm getting myself in trouble placing these bets during these shows, but I'm going to do this right here. And it's not going to be big, but I'll get into it for 25. I'm on $25. Michigan plus 7.5.
I like it.
I'm going to say they're going to lose the game, but it'll be close. They're going to lose this game 31-27 type thing and cover the spread. Do you have a pick here for Michigan, Georgia?
Yeah, I like that bet a lot because, that's what Michigan has been this year, right? Even in their one loss to Michigan State, it was 37-33, right? Back and forth, right up to the end. And a lot of other wins, they've really kind of, like the Ohio State when you mentioned, just dominating. They've pulled away in a lot of those games. But, is the talent gap that far between Michigan and Georgia? I mean, we're going to find out. I don't think that Georgia is your kind of garden variety SEC, beat down team like an Alabama squad in their prime. You think back to 2015 when they just beat up on Michigan State and they were a really good team. I don't know that Georgia is necessarily that good. So I like your call of saying, hey, it's maybe going to be like a 5-point game, 4-point game, something like that. I could see that definitely because Michigan, they're going to get, everybody's going to say they're going to lose. They're going to be behind, they're not going to have much of a chance. And I always lean towards the team that kind of comes in is that kind of sentimental underdog in this particular space. So I like that. I think Michigan does keep it close. They don't win, I don't think, but I think they keep it close enough where they can kind of make that, get inside that spread 7.5. I think they'll keep it closer than that against Georgia.
I said Lions only on the merch giveaway. Let me change my mind on that. You can place it, put Michigan in here too. You can place Michigan, anything related to Michigan college football playoff. Again, get this risk-free bet promo, FanDuel Sportsbook. Max will have the link. We need you to send your bet slips. You take a screenshot, your FanDuel Sportsbook app, send it to Max. He'll enter you for the Lions merch giveaway. Last thing here on this, look, I like these money lines. If you are a believer in Michigan, what I would recommend, they're about plus, where are they for the game? They're plus 235 in the game. So you bet 10, you win 23. To win the championship, they're at plus 700. Alabama's the favorite at plus 115, plus 140 for Georgia. Cincinnati is a huge long shot, plus 1,800. Then in the middle is Michigan at plus 700. Could you bet $10 on Michigan? Again, though, in the risk-free bet, you can go higher than that. And I like those big money lines. You want to bet $1,000? Michigan wins the championship, you're going to be happy as a Michigan fan, and you're also going to have $7,000. So I don't hate that as a money line play. Okay, go a little longer today. Again, get in on that Lions merch giveaway. Holly Campbell, please enter. Anybody else, please enter too. We love all you guys, and love to have your viewership here. Max, any parting thoughts before we get out of here?
Watch out for the Lions. They're playing really well, and it's sneaky. They sneak up on teams. They're going to do that again, I think, down the stretch here and kind of impress and finish 2021 very strong, pushing towards a really much better, I think, 2022.
All right, on to 2022, but not before they beat the Falcons on Sunday. All right, Michigan Sports Betting Show. Max and I will be back here next week. And again, look out for Max with the FanDuel Sportsbook promo link and the Lions merch giveaway. We'll catch you all very